Hey, everybody. Hi. Hi, Jeannie. How are
Hey,
you?
Carm. I'm good. How are you?
Good. Good. Thank you. Welcome to episode 107 of Carmela's Wrestling Radio Relived. And we have an incredibly wonderful guest today, our dear
Yes.
sweet Bebe, our Bay
Yes.
Ragni. And we're going to bring him on shortly. But our dear sweet Chuck, God bless him, who always gives us questions and information, he gave us two deaths that we're going to talk about real quick. One is Brett Wolverton. He is an acclaimed professional wrestling ring announcer, and he suddenly passed away. He was an active member of professional wrestling community. He was a 12-time recipient of the Announcer of the Year award. God bless him.
Wow.
But anyway, he passed. He was only 44. Okay. The other one is somebody who worked with the WWE. He was 75 years old. Kerwin, let me see if I can read this right. Sylphies. He was a very active role in programming, WWE programming. So rest his soul,
I
both of
think he
them.
was a part of it when it was WWF as well.
Yeah, I'm sure he's
Yeah.
75, so I'm
Yeah.
sure he was there for a while. Also, I just want to make a little announcement. We are going to hopefully be seeing Will Ospreay in either the spring or the summer of 26. He's already been making some appearances in the back at some of the wrestling matches. So I'm kind of excited again to put my Will Ospreay back up here. I have to take some time and talk to Bay because my friend, our friend John Wazlowski, was telling me that he likes this little thing back here that Daniela drew,
Yeah.
but he said it'd be nice if you could put it somewhere else and let everybody see it, because I hate keep moving all the time. And so I got to get Bay or Brian Trammell to show me how to put pictures up on here. I keep talking about it, but I never actually get to do it. So I got to get that done. I actually got to make time to spend on the computer by myself and learn how to do it because there's never time. It's like there's always something to do. But anyway, without any further ado, let's bring our amazing guest on tonight. It's been a while since Mr. Chubby Dudley has been
Yes.
here. So let's welcome Bebe. Hi.
What
Hey,
up?
you
What up?
go. Rock,
Oh,
Bebe.
where is he? I
Where
don't
am
see
I?
him.
You don't
You don't
hear him?
see me?
I don't hear him. I don't see him. It's just a
Why
Really? Are you
not?
kidding?
black screen. Yeah.
Uh-uh.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah,
There
there
he
he
is.
is.
Oh,
Okay.
come
Got it
on
now?
now. Come on
There you
now.
go.
There we
First of
go.
all, I love the hair. Love the hair.
Yes.
Wait. This hair or that hair?
Both.
Both.
Both. Okay. Love the whole look, everything.
I
the
lost
whole
20
look.
years.
You look amazing. You do.
Thank you.
Now,
Thank
wait a
you.
minute, though. My daughter gets mad whenever, like, people make a comment, like, if you lost weight or, oh, you look great now. Like, what did I look like before? So she doesn't like that. So I'm going to tell you that you look beautiful as you always do.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
Very
you.
important
Look,
to say it that
you
way.
know what? Like, in all reality, it's life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I like to consider myself and all of us like a fine wine, and I'm just gonna make sure we continue to get better.
To age, continue aging
Age.
gracefully.
Exactly.
And with a little bit of, cool stuff. So we usually at this point say hello to people. Do you have anybody you want to say hello to?
Oh God, it's a laundry list of people. It really is. First off, I want to say hello to you guys because it's been way too fucking long.
Way too long. Way too long.
I miss you guys. It's in the last 9 months of my life, 6 months of my life. It's just been insane. Like the change around. I always worked a lot. And now the world is crashing down around me.
Hi, guys. Hey, Coco.
Hi, Coco. How you doing?
They're like, hey, Coco.
Hey! Sorry.
Our refrigerator,
That was my bad.
if you open the door too quickly, the bottom shelf like collapses and stuff falls out. So
that's really good. As long as she's okay, that's fine.
oh yeah. But yeah, no, things have just been crazy, but good. And it just sucks because my schedule's so busy now. Like I barely get time to talk to anybody anymore. And It's and including my family, and sadly, even my daughters, like they text me, and because of my job, I'm doing a live show for 8 to 10 hours a day, 5 to 6
Wow.
days a week. So it's hard to. It's like if I get a hello text, it's like, all right, hey. But if I get like a text with more than 2 sentences, it's like I can't, because I'm like in depth in what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, shit. Then I like people like will text and message me. I'm like, I can't go back, and I forget and I lose track and I suck, and I apologize to everybody.
Aw. Well, that's why we're giving you a chance to say some hi's to people.
That's why. Look, and again, thank you guys, and I love and miss you guys, and I love and miss everybody. I really do. I really do.
Yeah. Yeah. We love and miss you too. That's why Jeannie and I were talking.
Yes.
We're like, wow, we haven't had Bay for a while. How about we
I
pull him back
know.
in?
Yeah.
And that'd be great because you have an event coming up, do you not?
I do. So, and that's all. Like, and again, part of the craziness of my life. So I'm coming back into Philly to go to a concert on March 21st. That's my whole reason of coming in. So I'm going to a concert to see my favorite all-time Philly band is having their last original lineup show. So it's going to be like that I've gone and like seen this band. They were originally called Tease, and then they were signed to a record label and had changed their name to Rough House. But I've gone and seen this band since 1985, a 15-year-old kid. So me and my 3 friends that went back in 85 and all through the years, we're going to go for that last show. So
Nice.
that's
Very
why
nice.
I'm coming up. But people
But you're
are
doing
always,
a personal appearance, right?
right. So people are always like, hey, when you coming up? When you coming up? When you coming up? Oh, you didn't see me. You didn't spend time with me. And it's kind of hard because when I come into town, normally I end up spending time with my niece. I stay with my niece and like try to like squeeze my family in and then try to sprinkle my friends in here or there where I can. So I'm like, I said to Rick Money, I said to Rick like a few months ago, I said, well, if I come back to town, maybe we'll do like a CWO luncheon.
Right.
And then when this came up, I was like, I wonder if I can make this happen. As I was thinking about it, out of the blue, Steve Truitt, sent me a message. I haven't heard from him in a year and a half. Sends me a message. And I was like, wow. So we start texting back and forth. And then I said to him, and she broke the refrigerator again. So I said to him, I said, hey, I'm coming into town. I have this idea in my head. I want to run it past you. Call me. So he called me and we talked. And we're putting together March 21st at his restaurant in Manayunk, La Roca.
Oh,
we're going to do a CWO luncheon with Chubby. We're going to have some surprise guests. Naturally, Stevie Wonderful is going to be there. We have some other guests that we're working on getting confirmed. We have one confirmed. We're not going to announce yet. But it's going to be a nice cross of old school ECW, TWA, and it's going to, it's going to be just a fun get together. Stevie's putting together some nice. We're going to do like a package deal of probably like a food deal or a food and open bar deal. He's working on that. We're going to get everything finalized for this week, and he's getting some sponsors. And it's funny because we talked Monday, and it was like this is turning into way bigger than we thought. And he was even like, "Oh, well, let's do a bus from a bar in Delco out to my place." I'm like, "Dude, time out. Like, slow down. Like, this is getting a little crazier than I thought now." But you don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. But
well, I did see one of your videos because I follow you religiously.
Thank you.
That you that the CWO belt will be there, and if you go to the event, there's a chance you could win one of them or win it.
So here's what happened. I have an extra belt, and I'm going to do a giveaway. Now it's going to be basically a raffle, and literally today's my day off. So, and I just texted Stevie before we got on here, And I said, I'm sitting down tonight. I'm going to get all my stuff hammered out, nailed out, lined up, get your shit together. So this way we can make our final announcement Sunday or Monday. But we're going to I'm going to sell raffles to win this belt. And it's a legitimate real freaking deal belt. So I did my research. I'll be able to do this and live stream the giveaway.
Oh, wow.
You don't have to be in attendance to win the belt. But if you are there, and even if you're not there, I will sign it right then and there on camera. This way you see it. And if you're in attendance, you will take the belt with you. If you're not in attendance, then I will ship it to you. Not a problem. But it's going to be a super cool deal. And I'm also going to put together like a package deal, because it's going to be a ticket deal. You're going to have to buy a ticket to get in. But I'm also going to include like a picture, autograph card. I have guitar picks, stickers. So I'm going to make a little package deal. You're going to get all types of goodie, chubby dubby, chachis, and all this stuff.
Right.
And it's going to be a fun thing. And we're going to naturally, we're going to eat because we all love to eat. We're going to have a little cocktails if you partake in that. But we're going to do a Q&A. We're going to do a photo session, autographs, and all that stuff. So it's going to be a fun friggin' day.
You know what the bad part about all this is?
Yeah.
I don't even want to hear this. If you say this, don't talk to me. But I love you.
Jeannie and I can't come.
That's what I knew you were going to say. Why?
Well, as of right now, it doesn't look like we're going to be able to make it. I have both events put on my calendar because if I don't know.
I
would give my
honesty, I already saw. Are you going into a Hall of Fame or something that day?
Yes, she is.
Or something. Or something.
Motherfucker, you.
The Women's Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame. And I'm
canceling my event and coming there.
There you go.
And unfortunately, it's the same day. It's March 21st in New York. So
in Brentwood, in Long Island.
Oh shit. Okay.
So can't be at both places at the same time, unfortunately, or go to yours first and then go there.
That's awesome.
I don't really think.
Yo, seriously, that is absolutely amazing, and it brings tears to my eyes. Seriously,
it does.
So,
me too.
So fucking deserved, girl.
I joke about it a lot, and I say, it only took 62 years, but I'm very grateful. I'm honored. I still don't believe it. I said I'll believe it when it happens. I'm like beside myself.
Right.
And all thanks. Well, apparently a few people contacted Chris Anino, and who's partnered with Gary Wolf, and he's kind of in charge of it. And he was like, "All right, fine, I'll put her in. Leave me alone."
Yeah, a few people actually did it. Susan Green is actually part of it too. There is, and I'm going to be very honest with you, there is another Hall of Fame that my name was put into as well, which I'm not going to say anything right now. If I got both of these happened, like I could probably die happy at this point. I'm beyond excited about the Women's Wrestling Hall of Fame. I don't know. Like I don't know. I don't know how to act or how to react because I'm still like in limbo. I'm still,
you react how your heart tells you to react at the moment.
That's what I'm saying. Right now, I can't react at all. My heart is stopped a long time ago, but it's like, I don't know when I get there and it actually happens and I get the plaque and then I'll be like, holy crap. Then I'll cry and I'll do whatever. But I'm right now. I'm like, I don't know.
She can't believe it. She can't.
I can't. Sure. I can't believe, number one, that anybody would nominate me for that. Number one. Number two, that more than one person did, and number three, that it might come to fruition. So, I'm excited. I'm bringing my family. That's awesome. Jeannie, God willing,
that right there is a beautiful, and Jeannie is your family, but
Absolutely.
That's
Yeah, she wants me to induct her. I don't think I'm worthy, but
Oh, stop
why
it!
not?
My God,
Why not?
tell her to stop.
There's
If
You're
gotta
the
anybody
be
perfect
is
person to do
you,
it.
You're
there's gotta be because first of all, you did it longer before.
Yeah,
I
but
was
you've
even
been
in
there for
existence.
literally every step of the way.
but you got to
Not
understand
every
something.
step. Not
Well,
every
40
step.
years of
Only
steps.
since 85. So
Okay, but wait a minute. But listen to me.
yes.
Out of the wrestling world, okay,
Yeah.
you and Joel are the only ones who really know me that well,
Right.
or that
That's
long.
true.
Joel hates me, so we already got that.
I was going to
established.
say you could have Joel do it, but I think the introduction would be pretty funny, but pretty cold.
Yeah, he would say, "All right, see this lady here? They told me I had to say something about her, and she sucks, and I hate her, and I don't know why she's getting this award, but here you go." No, Joel is God bless him. He would do a wonderful job, but
Yeah.
he also doesn't know all the sides of me like Jeannie does. Joel
Right,
pretty much
right.
knows the professional side and the arguing, which we did a lot of.
Sure.
Because I even said it when I did the documentary interview, how much I hated him, and I said, Joel and I hated each other for 40 years, but I love him dearly. I do. But Jeannie
how's he doing? Like, okay. And this is where it gets real because we're doing this. Like, I've documented and talked about our experience after the one and done situation. I've talked to him one time, in almost a year, and I will give him credit. He was, when I put on, after my last heart attack situation in July, when I put it on Facebook and made it public, my phone rang in seconds, and it was Joel.
Yeah.
And I will be, and that's where I fucking love him, even though I hate him and want to choke him. But like you, Carm,
exactly,
like you,
yeah,
I fucking love him because he called me as a true human being, and it was at that we had a 5-minute conversation, and that's where it was two people in a human relationship, as humans and friends, and it was fuck the wrestling business. It was how are you?
Yeah.
And that's all we talked about. We talked about my health. We talked about his health. And that was it. Zero. Not a second of wrestling was mentioned. And then that was it. And I haven't talked to him since.
He's, but he's Joel. God bless him. That's one thing I got to say about him. You can't knock him down. You can push him around. Okay.
Yeah.
And
literally, you can roll him around, but
you can't knock him down. Joel he's got what's the word I want to use? He's got a constitution, I guess is the word, that is undeniable. It's he's always saying, like, every time somebody around his age passes away, like, he's always like, well, I guess I'm going to be pretty much next, or I'm like, shut up, you are not. I mean, he is indelible. He really is. Yeah. He is amazing. And you're right. Every time something goes wrong with somebody, especially like Jeannie or myself or whatever too, he's right there. And I got to be honest about that. He's right there. And he's always there to help, always there to talk, always.
It's funny because, I hear from some of the bullies and all, and we'll talk and they'll say, hey, Joel called me. Do you know why? I'm like, I haven't fucking talked to Joel in 6 months. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, I had this going on in my life. I wonder if that's why. I'm like, it could be. I don't know.
Yeah, he's good like that. He really is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, Jeannie and I just actually saw him Saturday. Yeah. We went to see, he puts on these shows, impersonators. So he had a Billy Joel and Elton John show, and Jeannie and I went to see that. Unfortunately, we had to leave a little early. My back, I've been having a lot of problems with my back. My back's been bothering me, so we just kind of, it was too much. So, but we're going to go back. We're going to go back again, and
nice.
I told him, I said I'd like to get together, but Jeannie and I are going to go back up there one day and cook for him again. So I think he might like that. I think that'd be cool.
Well, you know what? Make that when I can be there. So I want some motherfucking chicken cutlets, and I want to sit down with him and make peace and fuck the
Well, if
rest
we
of
weren't
Grizzlies.
going where we're going on the 21st of March, it could have been that morning or afternoon, But we'll get together. Unfortunately,
Absolutely.
you're going to have to come back up again sometime. Now, let me ask you a question. Yeah, are you always off on Thursdays?
Mondays and Thursdays, as of right now, are my days off.
Okay, because I still want to talk to you about some stuff that I'm doing wrong here. All right, but I don't want to talk about it on the air. But I got a couple questions. We have a listener whose name is Chuck. What a great person!
Yo, Chuck is the absolute freaking man because
he is.
I love Chuck. He started messaging me after some appearances on this show, and he first off, he has this inside track to a world of knowledge. Right.
Yes.
And he'll hit me with stuff, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
He just hit me. I think it was yesterday or this morning. I posted a picture of me.
I don't know if you can see this. I have a whole list of questions.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
So he hit me with a thing with there was a picture I posted of me in Dances with Dudley where I'm wheeling him in the wheelchair, and which I got to mention something else about that, which is so funny. He sent me a thing like, hey, by chance, do you know? He's like, I looked up. Was that Devon's first appearance? I'm like, I don't know.
Is that where you said that's a good question? But I honestly
that's
don't
a good.
Yes,
I don't know.
He is this guy is incredible. He really is. He used to be a teacher.
Yeah, and I even have posted things, of course, about my Philadelphia Eagles. And I just posted something about Lane Johnson is not retiring.
Yes.
He's coming back.
Right,
so I'm like,
right.
yes.
I saw it because of you. Thank you.
And he was, right there on it, about, all about Lane. And it's just like, oh my God. I have the Phillies, same thing.
Yeah. I have to tell you something. A lady that I work with, her nephew is in a high school basketball team. He has been pulling in these points like you would not believe. So I made an announcement about him. They had this thing where you could vote. All of a sudden, Chuck comes out with this thing this big about all the stuff that this kid has done.
And everything.
I'm like, oh my God, where do you get this stuff? But he's great.
Awesome.
We're going to have him on the show. He promised me he's supposed to get another computer this year. So that he can come on the show.
I want to come on when he's on.
All right, we'll do that. We'll do
We'll
do it on a Thursday.
Love to meet him.
Yeah, we'll do it on. Well, we always do it on Thursday, but we'll do Chuck and you and a few other people who want to see him too. But anyway, the first question is: when you were in Extreme Championship Wrestling from 1995 to 1996, he knows all that too. There were a lot of big time current and future stars in the locker room. In your opinion, which wrestler was over the most with the ECW arena crowd during your tenure in the promotion?
Mick Foley.
Mick Foley?
First name that came to my mind. Mick. Definitely Mick, because Mick had built, thanks to Joel, that feud with Eddie. Mick had become like a saint in Philadelphia.
Right.
And then when the situation with ECW was starting to rise, and then they did the thing with Mick and Sabu, Mick and Funk, he was beyond the god at that point. So, and Mick knew how to work the crowd, and Mick's promos were fucking legendary.
Yeah.
So I gotta say, in 95, 96, Mick Foley.
Okay.
And I used to literally sit there, and I've told this story too. That's when Mick was in negotiations with Vince, and then Steve Austin came in, and I was a huge mark for Austin from going back to his days, because me and him went through wrestling school at the same time.
Right.
And then he had the feud with his teacher, Chris Adams. And I would go every month and get my wrestling magazines. I would go to the same place in Upper Darby, the Pipe Shop. And I would go every week, and I would get the new magazines, and I would read, and I would see in every magazine this feud of Steve Austin and Chris Adams. And I was like, wow. I was a 20, 21-year-old kid, and I'm like, this guy's the same age, and he's having this feud with his teacher coming fresh out of wrestling school.
Yeah.
So I saw that as an inspiration and a thing. And then his rise through WCW with Stunning Steve, and then the Hollywood Blondes with Pillman. I was a huge fucking Austin mark from day one. And then the whole Stone Cold thing. But when he hit ECW, I was marking out inside like a motherfucker. And I purposely, like, they had like a little 12-inch fucking black and white monitor set up in the dressing room at the arena as we were doing the TV tapings, and everybody be gathering around. I would always purposely sit right next, beside, behind, wherever I could, because those two were sitting together at that point, because they were both in negotiations with Vince, and they would like, should I, shouldn't I? I'm scared. What should I do? I don't know. Is this the right decision? Should I stay here? Should I go? So it was kind of interesting hearing these little situations to what became two of the all-time biggest stars in the wrestling business.
Well, it's funny because my ex-husband Paul had gotten very friendly with Steve, really friendly. I mean, they had each other's cell phones, and I called each other on a regular. And then when Paul got very sick, I did, and I'm going to be honest, man, I did my damnedest to try to get Steve to call him. I could not, no matter how hard I tried. Nobody would help me. Nobody, even the people in the WWF or WWE wouldn't help. And I tried to get him to call Paul, but he obviously never got the message. So it is what it is. And you know what? Everybody who decided not to help me or who said they couldn't, karma will get you. It's all karma. It'll come back to you. Anyway, another question. Yep. Bay, when you were running All-Star Liberty Wrestling, what was the biggest hassle you had to deal with? Was it the boys, the Pennsylvania State Athletic Commission, or the building owners with their fees and insurance costs?
Chuck should do a fucking podcast.
I know, I'm telling you, he really should.
No, you know what? The buildings and the fees was probably the least of the headache.
Yeah.
Until you had to pay them.
Yeah.
The Pennsylvania so many stories about the Pennsylvania State Athletic Commission because of Frank Talent. Frank Talent,
Love
you could do.
Frank Talent.
There should be a documentary on Frank Talent.
Yeah,
because
he was great.
Look, Frank Talent was a beautiful, beautiful human being, but he was batshit motherfucking crazy. Yeah. I used to work Frank because Frank would come out to the shows, and when the athletic commission would come out to the shows, this is, check this out. So if the Pennsylvania State Athletic Commission comes out to your show, you have to pay them $100 fee for showing up to inspect your show.
Yeah, I remember that. Yep.
So Frank would come out to the show, and I have to pay him $100, and you're supposed to have like, here's exposing some shit. So you had to have a doctor on hand. If you didn't, they would shut the show down.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sometimes we couldn't get a doctor. So I used to book April Hunter. And her mom would come to the shows. April lived, I forget where I think she lived in Florida or wherever it was at the time. But her mom was local, and April went to high school with my ex-wife, and her mom was like her second mother, and we became very, very close. So her mom worked as like a receptionist in a doctor's office or whatever it was. She was our doctor. So
looks like Kathy Fitzpatrick does that.
Yes,
too.
yes,
Yep,
exactly. Yep. So we would say, "Oh yeah, Frank, here's Dr. fucking Kyle," and he would fucking go and hang with Dr. Kyle at the ringside table, talking it up all night long.
That is funny.
God rest both their souls. Two beautiful.
And I remember Philadelphia Arena. He was the original, very first Batman. He came in dressed, Frank Talent dressed as Batman, and he comes in the ring, and it's funny because you see he was a very slender man.
Yes.
And he come in the ring with his little cape and his mask and the whole thing, and he and then he did like nobody knew who he was till he took the microphone. And then he had that voice, and then he did the voice and everybody knew it was him, but he was wonderful. He even had compact on, like makeup and stuff.
Did he really?
Yeah, he did. He was
Frank.
great.
This is
Great.
Frank really needs a doc because Frank had a very interesting story, and I'm not. I knew it, but it's been many years. But I think he might have been like adopted or went through like an orphanage situation.
Oh,
And
wow.
I was in many situations with him at my friend's comic book store in Philly, Ontario Street Comics. We would do appearances and stuff like that there. And then Frank ended up doing a wrestling podcast and would host it live out of there each week. But Frank would go and literally every time he would buy a few $100s worth of stuff each week
Wow.
and give it out to the young kids.
Oh, God bless him.
You know what I mean? Like, because he was there.
Yeah.
And Frank
he was a good guy.
Beautiful, beautiful soul. Beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful human being.
He was a
Crazy,
very good guy.
beautiful.
But he was
And
funny.
what was the first part of that question? The boys? Not honestly.
If they were any problems for you.
I mean, yeah. I mean, there was a few that were a problem of Rock and Rebel, but otherwise,
he's on everybody's lips for that, isn't he? That's crazy.
Yeah, I'll leave it.
Jeannie,
Well,
just ask Jeannie what she thinks of him.
Oh no, he's complete and utter pond scum, waste of human flesh.
Before even what he did,
His mother should have swallowed.
If you ask any woman
Oh,
before what he did,
yeah.
Oh yeah, no, he was absolutely. He hated women. He really did. There's no other. He was a misogynist,
and he acted like it.
He acted like it and treated women like,
he was the one that got me in the business too, which is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, as far as wrestling wise, that's a whole other, thing.
Yeah.
But the human being,
I only met him a couple of times. I really did not have
I literally did. I didn't know if I should say it or not. But when I found out that, he killed himself, I was so happy. I'm like, yes, motherfucker, burn in hell. Burn in hell.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've met him a couple of times, but I never really had any interaction with him. I do know he had a very bad reputation, though.
Me and him had our run-ins and we had our fallings outs and we had bad experiences. His wife, from day one, my first night at Joel's wrestling school, I met Stephanie. She was always such a good fucking person to me.
Yeah.
And was always anything I did fucking supported. When her and Chuck broke up in the 90s, me and her hung out. She was dating a mutual friend. And then she went back to Chuck. And then me and Chuck started doing business again in my second wave of Liberty All-Star Wrestling. And then we had another falling out. And then, I'll never get the image out of my head of that poor girl in that fucking casket where they had to
Yeah, and the story is just so tragic. Because they're twin kids.
Yeah.
Were in the home when it was a murder suicide.
They found their parents.
Were there. They had to find, they found their parents. And I mean, just horrific.
Some images are burned in your head.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of brings back the Benoit story too,
Yeah. I can't even like those two again with ECW. Like I said, with Mick and Steve Austin. I met Chris early on in ECW. before he went to WCW, and he was cordial. He was one of them guys that was just cordial business. But Nancy was this beautiful fucking soul. And, hey, look, I'm a fucking guy. I'm a human being. She was woman. You know what I mean? Like in the 80s, she was one. You like looking up as a teenage kid, you're like, woman. You know what I mean? So when I'm in ECW with her and being around woman, and she was the nicest fucking person. One of the nicest people in the wrestling business I met.
It really was, yeah.
She's sweetheart.
And it's a shame. It's really a shame because these people had no say. In their lives. They had no say as to what was going to happen. These men, like same thing with Billy Jack Haynes, what he did to his wife. Sometimes, and here's the thing that I want to say about this is because if you have problems or it, there's always help that you can get. But then you look at, because Chris Benoit was not like Rockin' Rebel. Okay, it wasn't in my understanding, it wasn't that type of thing. Rockin' Rebel was just a nasty man all the time. Time. But somebody like Rockin' Rebel who believed that he was the man, he believed that he was in charge, he was the boss, he was, and nobody could change that or take that away, or somebody like him, that I don't think there really is a lot of help, because somebody like him would never want it. There are people who want help for their problems, but there are people like him who are like, I'm better than you. I'm better than everybody. I don't need any help. And then you turn around and you beat up a woman and you kill her, like same thing with Steve Austin. I love Steve Austin. I always did, but I didn't like Steve Williams because he was a woman beater as well.
Right.
This wife he has now, apparently, he's not doing anything like that. Either he changed his ways or he's too old now, but it's true. You just eventually get tired of it, but he did. Every wife he had, he was married 4 times, contrary to what people think. Every woman he was involved with, he beat. So,
really?
I can't imagine, honestly. And I got to be honest, I've had some rough relationships. I've had some couple of rough marriages here and there, but I've never experienced, and thank you, Jesus, I never experienced, a mate or a husband or a boyfriend beating me, I got to be honest though, with the kind of person I am, I think that with all my resources, I don't think they'd make it out the door, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I know. I've been verbally abused and emotionally abused, but never physically. Yeah. And I think it was because, I'd always said, first started dating, you stick a hand on me, it's the last, you better kill me, because it will be the last thing you ever do.
I mean, I was verbally
no
abused.
Crime, no body, no crime.
Yeah, there you go.
That was
and hide the shovel,
homicide.
Right?
So guess
but
what?
No, everybody knows I made it public. I was verbally abused, mentally abused, emotionally abused, sexually abused, but I was never hit, except by my mother. You know what I mean? But I was never never by a man. And the same thing Jeannie said. I've been threatened years ago, and when it's funny story. When I was a kid, this guy I was going out with, he tried to run me over a couple of times. And back then, we used to be friends with the cops and all this stuff. Like my uncle was really close with all the cops. And the one cop, his name was Vince. He came to my house and he goes, "Look, I'll tell you what we're going to do." He said, "You're going to write him a letter, tell him you love him and you want him back in your life again." I'm like, "Why?" He said, "Don't worry about it. When he comes here, let him in. We'll be down the street. And we will say that we got a call saying that there was a disturbance. We'll come into your house. We'll beat the living shit out, and he'll never be back again." And I really, really wanted to do that. And then, I always get that thing where I feel my mother pulling the back of my hair, saying no. And I never did it, but I could have. And it's not right. Nobody should hit or hurt anybody, not male or female. Nobody should do that. That's not right. I always said, and I've said this a million times, if you don't want to be with the person, just go away. Go your own way. get a divorce, break up, whatever you want to do. There's nothing. You can't force somebody to stay with you. There's just no need for that, But anyway, let's get to the next question here.
All right, time out. I'm going to say time out. Give me 45 seconds. Let me run, and I'll be right back.
Uh-oh. Okay. We're going to keep talking. I'm not going to pause it. Just go.
No, just go. Just go.
All right, just go.
Talk without me. You can
all
make
right,
fun
we're
of me
going to
or
talk
something.
without you.
Yeah, make fun of me.
Goodbye. All right, he'll be right back. But anyway, getting back to that, no, I agree wholeheartedly. And if it ever happened to one of my children.
No, I know. Unfortunately, there are women out there that, they want to leave, but they just can't.
They're terrified.
Because not just that, terrified, and financially they might not be able to. They might not have anybody that can help them, because usually in an abusive situation, and I'm going to say man, and it could be either one. I understand that, but for the most part, the man isolates the woman from all her family and friends, and and controls the purse strings. And if there's kids involved, that's the other thing, where they're going to go to a shelter, you know what I mean? Which, yes, they should.
Get abused there too, you know what I mean?
Then,
in a different way. Yeah, exactly.
So it's just, sometimes they actually can't,
I know they can't,
but it's big, but it is, there are resources, thank God, out there now that.
But today there's so much more than there ever was. And believe it or not, there was, and this is public knowledge too, Drew McIntyre, his first marriage, he was physically abused by his wife. Obviously, because he wouldn't hit her back, but the police were called to his house many times for domestic violence. And it wasn't by him, it was by her. Apparently, this wife that he has now, God bless them both, are doing very well. But anyway, let's get back to Bay. Here's the third
now I can
question.
Concentrate.
Okay, in AEW, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, who I adore. Mike's skills are so good that his wrestling skills are underrated. Who do you think in WWE has great verbal skills to the point where their in-ring work is underrated?
Ooh, that's a great question. And the scary part is...
That's Chuck.
Yeah, you think too much, Chuck. You outthink me. I've heard so many amazing, great things about, MJF? Is that the right?
Yeah, he's amazing.
And I've never seen any of his promos or work. And
Bay.
I feel bad about that.
Bay, you're doing yourself a disservice. You got to watch AEW. I'm telling you. Oh, my God.
I don't got time to watch me, let alone AEW.
Yeah, but you didn't watch AEW when you had more time, so stop it.
No, exactly. But I had 5 more hours of time. All right. Who's better on the mic than in ring? God, lately it's funny. Not this past Monday. I didn't watch Raw this past Monday, but the Monday before I watched Raw, I was hollering at my TV and had to shut it off because
you made time to watch Raw. AEW.
He's off on Mondays.
I'm off on Monday, but it was late. It was late.
Thursday.
I was out, and I was like, Mondays and Thursdays have become my day to let loose and just break free. Like, I was out having a nice tequila Mexican lunch and then had to run to the supermarket and get stuff and come here. But
I can think of somebody right off the top of my head who I think is good in the mic and not in the ring. LA Knight.
Okay.
I think he's good on the mic. He's got the fans all riled up with his,
He irks me
and all that. He irks me too.
Irks me on that fucking microphone. He irks me more on the microphone than in the ring.
Exactly. That's his job.
No. But he irks me because his whole shtick and gimmick. Everybody steals from somebody. Okay. Nobody's truly original in their gimmick. But he is such a blatant thievery of so many. and it's just so blatant. It just doesn't seem original to me.
No, it's
So
not.
It's
It's
just
not. But
it
he
just
is. I
rubs me
think
so
he's good on
wrong.
the mic. I think Seth Rollins is good on the mic.
Seth is great, but he's great in the ring.
He's great in the ring too. I'm trying to think of who else.
Yeah, I can't really think of anybody. I'm trying to think maybe back old school, but I mean,
See, the problem is,
Piper was the best. And
like they're the new regime
Hogan maybe.
of WWE. Well, yeah, there you go. I mean, that's the prime definition of that question right there.
Yeah, Hogan.
Yeah, he sucked in the ring.
But
I
if
didn't
you
like him
watch,
on the mic
Sucked
either.
on the mic.
if you
Yeah.
watched Hogan in Japan, you're like, wait a minute, is this the same guy? Because he had to
Well,
work.
because it's different. Like we've talked about this over and over again. Like again, we're going to bring this up with Hikuleo, who is now a part of the Samoan stuff. He had to come to the United States, wrestle in WWE Performance Center for a year before they brought him on the roster because he had to learn to wrestle WWE style.
Yeah.
So there you go. Yeah. All right, we're gonna let that one go though.
It's so different and it's so nerve-wracking because you see the WWE style in these matches where it's especially the Royal Rumble, the biggest one, where you see guys or 6 or 8 man tags or these 4-way dance matches, 3-way dance matches where somebody all of a sudden is now playing dead in the corner somewhere.
Outside. You notice that
for
when they're
3
out
minutes.
of the ring? Yeah. They're just there doing nothing. I know. I've seen that.
It's so stupid and ridiculous and so annoying.
And they're clearly waiting their turn to come back in. They're making it so obvious. It makes me so angry.
Yeah.
All right. Next question. Have you thought about what you want your legacy to be in professional wrestling? He asked me that too.
That's a good question.
They're all good questions.
It's funny because I got blessed because I got to become a part of history with ECW and being a Dudley. And I got totally blessed. I was never truly able to let any talent shine. I just got to be at the right place at the right time with something. So it's kind of hard. And I've taken that ball and run with it and just try to promote it and work with that. But I've always felt and learned from that experience that I thought my true blessing and calling in the business, and I still say to this day as I'm hollering at my TV on Monday nights, is I would be way better. I would be like the football player that wasn't good on the field that would be winning you Super Bowls. I think I would be that person behind the scenes, coaching and doing angles and storylines that would make stuff shine and explode and do that. That's where I think my legacy could have been and should have been, but it never will be.
Well,
I think my legacy is going to be here with you guys.
I think your legacy should be also the best Dudley ever.
Thank you. Thank you.
That works for me.
Yeah.
Okay. During your time in ECW, New Jack and Brian Pillman started throwing blows in the locker room. Can you please tell that story?
Yes. Okay. So, Pillman, another person like Steve Austin, I was always a fan of Pillman. When Pillman and Austin teamed up, did the Hollywood Blondes, this is the shit. This is the greatest tag team right now.
Right.
They were like Midnight Express level for me. So when Pillman came in, he was doing the whole, what the hell did he call himself? I forget what it was, but he was just crazy off.
Yeah.
And I still to this day, and I've like watched the the Dark Sides of the Ring.
Yeah.
I'm like, that motherfucker was crazy.
Yeah.
I still don't know, was it a work? Was it legit? Because if it was a work, That was the best work in the wrestling business because that motherfucker was crazy, crazy. And another reason I say that, at that point, that when he initially came in ECW, he had whatever I don't know if it was the car accident at that point or in-ring accident where he had the surgery. He had steel rods going through like the upper part of his knee and the lower part. I mean, steel rods. You saw the rods. They were going from one end to the other through his leg, holding it in place. And he went out there, cut his promo, and I don't remember the exact sequence, but somewhere along the way, he said the N-word. Well,
there you
New
go.
Jack went 0 to 120 in less than a second.
But it didn't take much for New Jack to go 0 to 120.
No.
This made it worse. Yeah.
As soon as Pillman came behind the curtain, and I was right there, New Jack jumped him. And I was literally right in the middle of that, trying to pull them apart. And I remember being like this and looking down and seeing them rods in Pillman's leg, like, holy fuck, like this is crazy. Crazy. And
the loose cannon. That was it.
The loose cannon.
Loose cannon.
He literally was, and he was not backing down at all, and he was ready to go full force fight with New Jack. With those in his one of the most craziest experiences in my life. It's
crazy. The two of them is like oil and vinegar. Like, it's like ridiculous. New Jack, were you there with me, Jeannie, when we met New Jack? Yeah. We were someplace, and we were talking.
That was that Doc Diamond show. We went and met up. And
okay. And I was talking to him, and that was the only and first time that I ever met him.
He was so nice.
He was wonderful. He even said to me, he wanted me to go out with him and have a drink with him. And I said to him, but you have a girlfriend. He goes, she ain't here. And I was like, no, I don't do that. Your girlfriend is in the picture. No, but he was so nice. He was so nice. He took pictures.
I took the picture of you guys together.
He was prime example of one of them people where, and I was having this conversation with somebody the other day because they asked, I'll get into this. Jonathan Owen, who was here last weekend, he asked me about Bubba Ray, and I said to him about Bubba, and the same I feel pertains to New Jack, and vice versa for either one of them. They're two guys that are probably like nicest people on earth, but they won't show you that side or give you that side of them unless they respect you enough. You have to earn that respect and trust from them to open that side up to them. If you don't get to that side, then it's kind of like a fuck you. Like, no.
Yeah,
because
he was so nice that
there's
night.
so
He
many
really
horrible
was.
human beings in the world.
That
they're going to put their defense system up first and make you work to get to that other side.
Right. Well, like I said that night, right, Jeannie? He was just 100% kind. He was very nice.
Yeah, he was
just like
very,
that.
very nice and very,
shocked the hell out of me because I had heard about his escapades and his temperament and all that stuff. But he couldn't been nicer. And it broke my heart when he passed away because I didn't know the bad side of him. I never saw that.
Always, like there was an incident with the Dudleys early on, but there was another incident at the Travel Lodge that I've spoken about many times where I had New Jack's back and I helped stick up for him. And I felt that was the moment where it put down the wall with me because I had his back. Mm-hmm. And from that moment on, he was always fucking amazing with me.
Yeah. He was very nice. God bless him. Okay. Let me see. Last question. Vince McMahon Jr. and Paul Heyman first met in the early 1980s at ringside when Heyman was a 15-year-old photographer on the WWE circuit, or WWF at that time. McMahon absent-mindedly asked him where he worked. Heyman proudly declared high school. Taken by surprise, McMahon laughed. He laughed out loud. His loud blasting laugh. I'm sorry. That's a hell of a story, kid. The 15-year-old teenager who was hated by other photographers made an unforgettable impression on McMahon. My question is, do you remember the first time you were introduced to Paul Heyman?
The second set of ECW TV tapings, I remember it clear as day. Second set of ECW TV tapings, 1993, because the first set is when Eddie Gilbert took over. And again, I was a huge mark for Eddie, and I was so excited that Eddie was our booker then. And then when we walked in the locker room for the second set of tapings, here's Paul. And I was like, I could still picture him. And I said to myself in my head as I walked in, shit's getting real now. Like, here we go. Like, this is real now.
Well, wasn't he a part of? He worked for Joel for TWA, didn't he? As Paulie Dangerously.
Yeah. He did some shots. Yeah, that was before Paul worked for Joel before I started. Before I came into the whole thing. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And he was not. No offense to anybody, but I know people who were taking photos when he was doing it. He was not a person to be jealous of as far as his photography. But he got in where other people couldn't, and that was what made him who he was.
Yeah, he knew how to, and he's talked about it. He knew how to work the system.
He knew how to
He knew how to work the people, and he ended up. The crazy thing is, knowing how to work his way into situations taught him how to be one of the best workers in the business.
Yeah. And he never really had to be a worker, technically. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
He could probably talk your pants off your body if you'd let him. You know, that he could do. I met him when he was young. I met him when he was around that 15-year-old age, because there was a lot of photographers back then. There's Bob Elliott, my brother, Jim Cornette, another guy named Joe, who was friends with my brother. Blah blah blah. There was a ton of them, and they all hung around together. All of them did. So he just was at the right place at the right time, and he had the right schmooze to do what he did, and it worked for him. God bless him.
Exactly.
That's it. That's whatever. But he did a good job with what he knew, with what he had. But I think that it's important to let everybody know that you're a much bigger presence in wrestling than people think. You've done a lot and you've come a long way, and you have, with the promotions and, the wrestling and the school and running around and doing everything you did. I think that you should be extremely commended for everything you did. And I think, to go back to the legacy question, I think that is a contribution to the quote unquote legacy that you leave behind, because you have a very good trail that is behind you as to all the things that you've done in your life. And it's not just a little bit, it's a lot. And maybe you don't realize that. Sometimes we don't realize our own contributions or our own efforts, but other people do. And I think you've done a whole lot. I really do. I think you have a lot to be grateful for. You have a lot to be proud of. And I think you have a hell of a legacy to leave behind. I really, really do. And I hope the day doesn't come for you to leave it behind for another 50, 60 years at least, But that's what my daughter always says. She says, you're never going to die. You're going to live to be 150. And I'm like, I don't think so. That's not going to happen. But, it is nice. And it's nice to be recognized for any little effort or any little event that you've had something to do with. In my life, let's say, like, I've been a mom, I've been a wife, I've been a girlfriend, I've been a teacher, I've been a worker, I've been, but I've really proud of my stuff that I've done with wrestling. Wrestling has been part of my life since I was 6 years old, probably younger. But, it's a part that I have cherished, and I'm sure you feel the same way. It's a part of who I am in my heart and in my soul. And it's true when they say, regardless of what part you played in professional wrestling or any sport or any venue of anything like that, when it's in your blood, it just doesn't go away. I don't care how old you
That's
are.
so true. So
Yeah,
true.
I don't care. I don't care if I'm like, 95. Somebody says wrestling to me, my ears are going to perk up no matter what. And I think that that's the same with you, Jeannie, too. All of
Well,
us.
let me ask you this, Carm, because I think you're kind of like in the same boat I am, to a point where, there was a point in my life where I walked away from the business and I shut the door. I shut the door, and I had to shut the door for almost 20 years, where I couldn't watch, and I even, like, the whole Chubby Dudley world, like, I didn't want to acknowledge that, or I was just like trying to be a normal person, a normal life, and move on and not be part of that business. And now we come into the modern world of where we are now. And I say this to myself when I do get a chance to sit and watch. I'll catch myself, like I said, it's usually a Monday night if I'll sit and watch a Raw, or if I end up on a Saturday watching like the Royal Rumble or whatever it was this past month or whatever. I will catch myself either A, hollering and screaming at the TV how they're doing it wrong, or B, finding myself in such approval of what's going on that I start crying because I feel so emotional about it. And I'm like, I love this fucking business so much, and I don't know why. You know what I mean? Like,
I get it.
I don't, at times I'm like, I don't get it. Like, why am I so emotionally attached to this business? And I shut it off for so long, and then I turned it on, and then I'm like,
because it's who you are, Bay.
I guess
it's who you are. It's a part of you that will not go away. It's like, I don't know how to explain it. I really don't. But like, the other parts of your life are a given. You're a dad, you're an ex-husband, you're a partner now, you're, A, B, C, D. These are all things that everybody does, and
Right.
they're wonderful. Yes, absolutely. Being a mom is probably the best thing I've ever done in my life. But when it comes to something that you do because it's a choice that you enjoy all the time, it's different. It's just different. And with the glitz, the glamour, the stuff, it just becomes part of you. It sucks you in, and it literally, it's like an IV. It literally gets put into your veins. It's in your blood. It's Dominic DeNucci used to tell me this all the time. He used to say to me, like I would say to him, forget about wrestling or whatever. He goes, can you? And I'm like, nah, and he's like, when it's in your blood, it's in your blood. It's like, how many times have we said, Ric Flair, stop, give it a rest.
Right.
But you can't. You just can't. And I'm not mad at the guy. I'm really not, for still doing it. I mean, I don't agree, but he's still doing what he's doing because he's still Ric Flair. And yeah, he's not 40 years old or 30 years old anymore, but he's still Ric Flair. And, I think if he was treated a little differently as far as management, that he wouldn't be as ridiculed as he is now. But
well, you know what? I don't even think it's that. I think Rick's got his own issues, and Rick has always had his own issues, and it's, well, everybody well knows. But I think, sadly, I think the biggest problem is when he lost his son. I think he's just so broken now, and it's sad. It's really sad. Like,
Well, you know what? I mean, to have a separation with a family member, to have, like, an estrangement when you fall away from somebody is one thing, but to actually have a child die, that's something that's a whole different ball game. I don't know. I don't know that I could.
I'll never forget, when my mom passed, my at that point, my grandparents had moved in with me after my father died at a young age. and my grandfather died a couple years before my mom. But my grandmother, my mother's mother, you know, when my mom died, she was like, I'll never forget those exact words. No parent, she was saying this, you know, at the viewing.
Yeah.
No parent should have to bury their child. No, she
Yep.
was like fucking devastated.
Right.
And that will never,
No,
those words
parents
will
are
never
supposed
leave.
to go first, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's hard. Like our friend Rich, you know, buried his son, and to this day, I mean, look, I was so close to my mother. In April, it's going to be, I think, 47, 48 years that she's dead, and it's
Wow.
like yesterday. It kills me.
Yeah.
It literally kills me.
Mhm.
And you know, my daughter says it's because I didn't grieve. I don't grieve when people die. We all grieve in our own way. I don't grieve like other people grieve, but we all grieve in our own way. But it is what it is. What are you
The
gonna do?
grieving, I don't think the grieving ever stops. It don't stop.
No, it doesn't, because every time you look for that person in one way or another, okay, you look for that person and that person's not there. And you have memories and you have dreams and you have hopes and aspirations and whatever, and that person's not there to see any of it. What I wouldn't give to have my mother see the things that I've been able to accomplish in all these years, you know. But
I think
you know,
yeah, I know. I think it's a lot of grieving doesn't end. It really doesn't. You just learn to live with the new normal of living with the grief.
Yeah.
you learn to go on. Yeah.
Over time, you may not be crying every day. Maybe it's every other day or just once a week, or, you know,
Usually Mondays and Thursdays for me.
For me,
but
it's during my most frustrating times when I am the saddest or the most upset or the most beat up, you know. I will be like, where are you now? Where are you when I need you? Because my mother was my everything, you know.
Right.
My mother was an incredible, incredible woman. If I could be half the woman my mother was, I'd be happy. Let's put it that way. Okay. She was an amazing woman, and I miss her dearly every single day. But it is what it is. But anyway, let's talk about Bay Dudley, Chubby Dudley, Bay Ragni, Basso Ragni, my friend. Oh, so you thought I forgot, huh? No, I didn't forget.
Nope.
But listen, it has been wonderful having you on. I know you have things that you need to do. You're probably exhausted.
I got to bring this up because it's all wrestling related.
Okay.
So, Jonathan Owen, who I'm pretty sure he was a fan club member of Joel's. Used to go to Joel's shows, was at every ECW show, Wheelchair Jonathan. That's what he was known back in the ECWs. Wheelchair Jonathan. Reconnected with him at the ECWA reunion show. And then he showed up to One and Done, and he was feeding me and Sabu tequila all afternoon. We'll leave it at that. We reconnected.
Aww.
And we've been in touch a lot. And then like a month or two ago, he's like, hey, he sends me a message. He's like, I'm going to come to Nashville. Nashville's my favorite place. I love it there. I'm like, okay, come to Nashville. And then he's like, hey, TNA's happening. I'm going to come. We're going to go to the TNA show. I'm like, what? Like, I haven't been to like a wrestling show like that in 35 years, whatever it is. He's like, no, we're going. So we arranged to go. So he comes last weekend, and we ended up going here. TNA, they were here last weekend. They did on Thursday night at the local comedy club, Zanies. They had, what's his name? Nick and Ryan Nemeth.
Oh, wow.
Mickey James, Candice Michelle, Santino, and Tommy Dreamer did stand-up.
Wow. All those?
So we went there for that.
Awesome.
And it was fucking I couldn't believe it was fucking hysterical.
Wow.
I was laughing out loud all night long. And
that sounds great.
I got to give props. The funniest one, because I hear people talk a lot of shit about him. Ryan Nemeth was the funniest one of the night.
Really?
because he knew how to work the crowd the best.
Yeah, yeah.
And he worked his whole thing of like, hey, I might get fired if you don't cheer louder. So, and he kept doing like multiple entries. He worked it so good. Fucking hysterical.
That's nice.
And then I got to see Dreamer. Like it was funny because we pulled up to the place and Dreamer was standing outside and we rolled down the window and Jonathan's like hollering at him. And he's like, what? He's looking at Jonathan. He's like, wait, what are you doing here? And then he's like, he's pointing at me and he's looking at me. He's like, what the fuck are you doing here? I'm like, dude, I live here now. Like, what are you doing here?
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know, it's funny you bring that up. I remember seeing Stan the Fan at One and Done, and seeing him was like a breath of fresh air. I love that man. And then he passed away. And you know what? I believe in what is meant to be.
Yes.
I think it was meant for him to be there. I think it was meant for him to see all of us and reconnect. I think it was because he was happier than anything that night.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to that, but I'm gonna say the next night we went. So TNA did 2 nights.
Oh, okay.
We went. I only went to the first night. He went to both nights because I had to go to work. So first off, we fucking tore it up. Wheelchair Jonathan is a badass mofo. We tore it up like we did at One and Done. Like every time you turn around, he's like, "Let's go back to the bar for more tequila."
Oh my God!
But then, so we're sitting there. He gets us up to the 3rd row. We're sitting in the 3rd row, and they bring Jelly Roll out.
Oh, okay. I saw the pictures. Yeah. Okay.
So Jelly Roll's sitting, and you can tell like they put him as a plant, you know. And I'm like, oh shit, there's Jelly Roll. And then he like his eyes light up and he grabs me and he's like, let's go. I'm like, what do you mean let's go? He's like, let's go. And he drags me and we go over to the other side of the arena and we get to where Jelly was sitting. And then Jelly's spot was over and he comes walking back and Jonathan literally grabs him. And you can see Jelly was like people are trying to talk to him, and Jonathan grabs him, and Jelly was like, "Who the fuck is this?" And then he looks down, and he's like, "Oh," and this is where it was so eye opening. You know, so many people you meet, like they talk to you, and you can tell, like, hey, they're talking to you, but they're talking to you. He went right in tune with Jonathan, eye to eye, and was just like, and he wanted to hear what Jonathan had to say.
Oh.
Gave him a hug, shook his hand, took a picture with him. And then I pulled him aside and thanked him, introduced myself. And as soon as I said, hey, like, I'm ECW original Chubby Dudley, one of the original Dudley brothers, he was like, fuck. And he fucking grabbed me and gave me a hug and talked real quick. And we took a picture. But he did the same thing to me as he did to Jonathan. It was so eye-opening and refreshing, like such an indirect, in the eye conversation with a human being.
Yeah,
it was like, wow, like that dude might be fucking making millions and top of the charts, whatever he's doing on every TV show. But I got to give him credit. Eye to eye speaks volumes, and that's a real motherfucker right there.
Yeah.
I have to believe, and I'm going to say this and probably get pushback from it, but I have to believe that's what Elvis would do. He was always talked about like that, where not only did he talk to people, like you said, he took the time to talk to people, homeless, people that were walking the streets, and did things for people, but actually gave them the time to talk to them like they were human beings. And I think there's nothing in the world like that.
Well, how many stories do you hear about Elvis? Like, he was going to buy a Cadillac and he's like, oh, somebody's there and he buys them a Cadillac. Like, you don't just, like, you have to make an eye connection, a heart connection with somebody to buy them a Cadillac. He did this.
There was a homeless man out in the street when they were driving past one day. And this is a fact. I did the research on it. He went up to him and gave him, I don't know how much, $5,000 or $10,000 in cash, and just said, here, do whatever you want with it. But I think you should, help them get a place and, help them get food and this and that. And the man was like crying his eyes out, eternally grateful. But Elvis did a lot of that for a lot of people. And A lot of people, and people like to just talk about the bad stuff. That's all people want to talk about. But he was a good man too. He did a lot. I always liked Jelly Roll too. Jelly Roll seems like a good man. I like some of his songs too. They're very meaningful, very cool. But it is what it is. But Bay, we want to know when you're going to come back again.
You tell me.
Dan, we could have you back every Monday and every Thursday. How about that?
But let me say this I got to say this about One and Done, because I mentioned this. It like hit me a few weeks ago, and you said about Stan.
Yeah.
I feel the whole One and Done day, show, experience, etc. I felt like, and it took me almost a year to realize this, but I think that was a coming full circle moment for the Philadelphia wrestling community. I feel, like what you, Joel, and Paul started, and then what it became, and then what it merged into with ECW, and then what it became with the Attitude Era, and then the whole fucking experience of 40 years of wrestling. I feel for Philadelphia wrestling, I felt what you guys gave birth to, I felt that is where it closed, because I hope I'm not right, and I don't want this for the Philadelphia wrestling business. I'm not saying this, but I feel that the true Philadelphia wrestling business scene, fan base, community, commitment, however you want to call it, came to a close that day.
I'm going to agree with you.
I understand what you're saying, and because Philadelphia doesn't really have that much wrestling in it anymore at all.
Yeah.
What we did was we brought to the 80s and the 90s what the 2000s were doing before the 2000s even got here,
Exactly.
But yeah, I think Philadelphia is missing a lot now. I really do. And I think that it's sad. But I think Philadelphia will always be the wrestling hub to me anyway. I was born and raised around that stuff in Philadelphia, especially.
Always have the best fans.
Oh, yeah. Philadelphia, to me, a lot of people hate Philly. A lot of people, Philly crime, Philly this, Philly that, Philly people, Philly fans. I love Philly. I will never not love Philly, and I will never not be a Philly girl. I could live in New Jersey till the day I die, but I will never not be a Philly girl, because that's where I'm from. That's my heart. Every time I drive to Philly, I drive over the bridge, I feel like refreshed, like I could climb a mountain. Then I come back over the bridge again, and I'm like, whatever. It's all right. But no, you're right. It is. And Philadelphia is my heart. It really is. It always will be.
Absolutely.
But as far as wrestling, you get the WWE in there every once in a while, AEW every once in a while, but there really is no in Philadelphia. Unless they come to town, there's no independent or
nothing,
anything that will
it's crazy,
be like it was with ECW and before. So it's definitely wrestling. I think they brought WrestleMania there a couple years ago, but they're not going to be coming back. So what's
probably not. Yeah. But we by the way, we're booked pretty much up until WrestleMania now. Okay. So after WrestleMania, I want to try and get Chuck on the show. And when we get Chuck on the show, we'll definitely have you back again, but we'll have you back regardless. Next week, we have Brian Trammell, who I love dearly. Can't wait to see him again. And then the week after that,
he started it all.
Oh yeah. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be here. But and then after that, we have, I didn't tell you, Jeannie, yet, I don't think. We have Susan Green and Vicky Otis, because the last time Susan Green couldn't get on because her phone wasn't working. So that's what she usually uses. And so we felt bad not having her. So we wanted to make sure that we did. But whenever you get a chance, I still need to talk to you about learning some stuff with this stuff. So I'm going to, trap you on a Monday or a Thursday and force you to help me. Okay.
That's the time. Yep.
All right, sweetheart.
Now, Tubby, wait a minute. First,
yes, I'm
give,
sorry.
Give your YouTube channel where they can see you with your
all right. So Chubby Dudley Official on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Whatnot, because that's where the Whatnot, that's where the situation is going to happen with the belt giveaway.
Okay.
And on Instagram is the Bay Ragni Show. Yeah.
Okay.
So Chubby Dudley Official. Just Google it.
And I have to say, I do see because you post some great finds of stuff, and like, oh my God. Oh my God.
Crazy.
Yeah.
The stuff, like, I have been, with my new job, absolutely blessed with this job. And I'm having it's not like I go to work. I go and I have fun, and I've been building a fan base and community. And we just have, like, I go back tomorrow night and I do, like, on the weekends, like 3 doubles in a row. And we just have the time of our lives. And I'm just ripping packs of cards open like a 10-year-old kid all night long, and just finding these amazing cards. It's crazy.
Cool.
It's crazy.
Very cool.
And they're sports cards because I know Carmela has.
They're like 98% sports cards. There's like one line called Decades that we do that is like pop culture cards. Okay. It's all like TV, movie, and music stars. One night I pulled Priscilla Presley autographed card out. I was like, what the fuck? Like, I'm freaking out. Like, are you kidding me? Fucking Priscilla.
Carm hates her.
I hate her.
Wouldn't want that.
Bitch.
She turned into, I don't know what. But
she turned into a effer. That's what she turned into. That's a whole nother podcast. Okay, but anyway, that's cool. I'm glad you like your job. I'm glad you're doing very well. God bless you. Yeah. And you stay healthy. You look great.
Yeah,
great. It's been great seeing you. We definitely
Did you get a lot of snow down there when we got hit?
You know what? We got like a couple inches initially, and then it turned instantly to sleet ice storm for the next.
Ours did too. They're saying something's coming this weekend too, so I think it might be down that area again. Yeah. Yes. I think you guys might actually get more than us now that I'm listening to the news.
Last I checked, where I live, it's like an inch if we're going to be lucky, which is
they said to where we are, it's like less than an inch. But what they're saying on the news is there's areas that are going to get a foot of snow, and everybody assumes it's our area, but it's not. So
you know what? I have not watched the news since I moved here, and it's funny because one of the local news people here, that her name is Danielle Breezy. And Coco was saying to me a few weeks ago, Danielle Breezy says, I'm like, fuck Danielle Breezy. And she said to me this morning, she's like, it's supposed to snow on Sunday or Monday. I'm like, what are you talking about? Snow? She's like, yeah, Danielle Breezy. I'm like, that's fucking bitch again, Danielle Breezy. Fuck her. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, well, Danielle Breezy might be knowing what she's talking about.
I don't want to hear. I don't even want to know. I don't
blame you. I don't either. Unbelievable. Okay, we're going to try there you go. Every time I try to shut this down, that's
I know. I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize.
We can. Actually, I'll tell you off when we go off.
Ooh.
So don't go anywhere.
Oh, it's one of those.
Okay, it's one of those. We're going to go off then. All right. Love you, Bay. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, love
I'm
you.
going to take you off for a minute.
Love everybody too. Thank you. Like, seriously, like,
Michelle.
Like, I've been blessed with such
Mike
amazing
Ferreira, and everybody.
Everybody.
Yeah, say hello to everybody. Chuck, of course.
Everybody.
Yeah, Hector, David, my cousin Roseanne, her boyfriend Bill,
Debbie.
Can't forget Debbie. But we're getting a bigger cluster of hellos, which I'm grateful for. That's awesome. Anybody, and Dave Shapiro, can't forget him. He listens every week. So anybody who wants us to mention your name, just reach out, okay? And we're going to do it. Okay, Bay, wait to see you again. I can't wait to see you again. Love you guys. All right, love you too. Stay right there, okay? Jeannie, I love you, and we'll talk soon. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.